There is something happening right now, in this very second, that most of humanity will never become aware of. Not because it is hidden, not because it requires a special degree or a secret initiation, but because it is so close to you, so intimate, so constant, that you have mistaken it for background noise. You have mistaken it for nothing at all. Your thoughts are not private. Let me say that differently. Your thoughts are not contained inside your skull the way you were taught to believe. They are not sealed behind bone and skin, locked away from the world, harmless and invisible until you choose to act on them. That is the story you inherited. And it is, by nearly every measure that modern physics and consciousness research can offer, incomplete at best, dangerously wrong at worst. What if every thought you have ever had was a broadcast? What if the silent monologue running through your mind right now, the one narrating these very words, the one already deciding whether to keep listening, is not a monologue at all, but a dialogue? A conversation between you and the fabric of reality itself. Because here is what I should not be telling you. Not because it is forbidden, but because once you hear it, you cannot unhear it. And once you cannot unhear it, you become responsible for it. You become responsible for every thought you entertain, every image you rehearse, every silent sentence you repeat to yourself in the dark. Reality heard you. It has always been hearing you, and it has been answering. Let us start with something concrete, something you can look up, verify, and sit with. In 1998, a researcher named William Tiller at Stanford University conducted a series of experiments that most of the scientific establishment quietly ignored. Tiller was not a fringe figure. He was a professor emeritus of materials science, a man who had spent decades studying the structure of physical matter. And what he found shook him enough to spend the rest of his career trying to explain it. Tiller took a simple electronic device, an intention-imprinted electrical device, he called it. He gathered a group of experienced meditators and asked them to hold a specific intention, a specific thought, directed at the device. The intention was precise. In one experiment, it was to raise the pH of purified water by 1 full unit. No chemicals added, no physical contact with the water, just sustained, focused thought directed at a device that would later be placed near the water. The pH of the water changed, repeatedly, measurably, by a full unit, which in chemistry is not a trivial shift. It represents a 10-fold change in hydrogen ion concentration. Thought, directed and sustained, altered the measurable chemistry of water. Now, you could dismiss this. Many did. But Tiller was meticulous. He ran controls. He repeated the experiments. He published the results. And what he found next was even more unsettling. After the experiments had been running in a particular laboratory space for several months, the space itself began to behave differently. New experiments conducted in that room showed effects even before the intention devices were activated, as if the room had been conditioned, as if the fabric of that space had learned to respond to thought. Tiller called this conditioning of the space. He proposed that sustained intention does not just affect a target. It alters the local thermodynamic properties of the environment. It changes what that space is willing to do. Sit with that for a moment, not as a metaphor, as a physical claim made by a Stanford professor of materials science, backed by repeated experimental data. The space around you may not be neutral. It may be imprinted. It may already carry the residue of every thought you have repeated inside it. Now, You might be wondering what this has to do with quantum mechanics. The title of this exploration mentions the quantum mind, and you might expect me to leap immediately to the usual references: the double-slit experiment, the observer effect, the idea that particles behave differently when watched. And we will get there. But I want to take a different route, because the usual route has been walked so many times that the path is worn smooth, and smooth paths do not make you think. They let you sleepwalk. I want you awake for this. Let us talk about something called the quantum Zeno effect. It is named after Zeno of Elea, the ancient Greek philosopher famous for his paradoxes, the ones about arrows that never reach their target and races that can never be won. The quantum Zeno effect is this: if you observe a quantum system frequently enough, you freeze it. You prevent it from changing. This is not a thought experiment. This is laboratory physics. Take an unstable particle, one that should decay. Watch it continuously, measure it over and over in rapid succession, and it will not decay. The act of repeated observation holds it in its current state. Stop watching, and it decays on schedule. Read that again. Observation, sustained attention, prevents change. The particle remains in its state because something is looking at it. There is a reason some people shift their reality quickly, and others do the work for years and stay stuck. It is not what you think. There is something underneath all of it, quietly running the show. I am hosting a free live transmission where I walk you through exactly what that is and how to finally shift it at the root. The link to register is in the description below. Save your seat. The moment you see this, you will understand why you could not see it before. Now reverse the implication. If sustained observation can freeze a quantum state, what does sustained inattention allow? What changes in your life have been happening precisely because you refused to look? What has been decaying, transforming, slipping into a different configuration, not because of some external force, but because you withdrew your attention? And here is the deeper cut. What states in your life have you been freezing, holding in place, preventing from evolving, precisely because you will not stop staring at them? The anxiety you monitor every morning, the relationship you keep examining for evidence of failure, the bank account you check with dread 4 times a day. You have been performing the quantum Zeno effect on your own suffering. Your sustained, fearful observation is holding those states in place. This is not poetry. This is the logic of measurement applied to lived experience. If this is already starting to shift how you see your own inner world, take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe to this channel so you do not miss what comes next. But I want to go further, because the quantum Zeno effect tells us something about attention, but it does not yet tell us the full story about thought. For that, we need to look at something stranger, something most physicists are deeply uncomfortable talking about in public. In 1935, Einstein, Podolsky, and Rosen published a paper meant to demonstrate that quantum mechanics was incomplete. They pointed to a phenomenon they found absurd: entanglement. 2 particles, once they interact, become correlated in such a way that measuring one instantly determines the state of the other, regardless of the distance between them. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance, and meant it as a criticism. He was sure that something local and hidden must explain the correlation, that there must be some unseen variable, some information carried within each particle that predetermined the outcome. In 1964, John Bell devised a theorem to test this. In 1982, Alain Aspect performed the experiment, and in 2022, The Nobel Prize in Physics was awarded to Aspect, John Clauser, and Anton Zeilinger for definitively proving that Einstein was wrong. There are no hidden local variables. The correlation is real. The connection is instantaneous, and it does not weaken with distance. Two particles, once entangled, respond to each other as if they are not separate, as if distance is an illusion, as if the space between them is not really there. Now, here is what I should not be telling you. Your brain generates an estimated 70,000 thoughts per day. Each thought involves the firing of neurons, which involves the movement of ions across cell membranes, which involves electron behavior at the quantum scale. You are not separate from quantum mechanics. You are made of it. Every thought you have is a quantum event. And if entanglement means that particles once connected remain connected regardless of distance, then the question is not whether your thoughts affect reality. The question is how far the entanglement extends. Consider what happens when you think about someone, not casually, not in passing, but deeply. You hold them in your mind. You feel the texture of their presence. You rehearse a conversation, or replay a memory, or project a future interaction. Something happens in your body during this. Your heart rate shifts. Your breathing changes. Your neurochemistry alters. You are not just thinking about them. You are, in some measurable physiological sense, with them. Your body does not fully distinguish between the thought of the person and the presence of the person. This is not mysticism. This is psychophysiology. Your nervous system responds to mental imagery with nearly the same activation patterns it uses for direct sensory experience. The brain regions that fire when you imagine lifting your right hand are substantially the same regions that fire when you actually lift your right hand. The motor cortex does not fully know the difference between a thought and an action. So when you spend 40 minutes in the shower rehearsing an argument that has not happened yet, your body has already had the argument. Your cortisol has already risen. Your muscles have already tensed. Your immune function has already dipped. And here is the part that matters. You have already transmitted something. Because your body is not a closed system. It is an electromagnetic broadcasting station. Your heart generates an electrical field that can be measured several feet from your body. Your brain produces electromagnetic waves that extend beyond your skull. Every cell in your body emits biophotons, ultra-weak photon emissions in the visible and ultraviolet spectrum. You are literally glowing, faintly but measurably. And the intensity and coherence of that glow changes with your emotional and mental state. Fritz Albert Popp, the German biophysicist who pioneered biophoton research, found that the coherence of these emissions, how organized and laser-like they are versus how chaotic, correlates with the health and vitality of the organism. Stressed, diseased, or dying cells emit light chaotically. Healthy, coherent cells emit light in organized, almost crystalline patterns. Your thoughts change the coherence of the light your body emits. Your mental state literally alters the quality of the light you radiate into the space around you. Now bring this back to Tiller's conditioned spaces. Bring it back to entanglement. Bring it back to the quantum Zeno effect. A picture begins to form, and it is not comfortable. Because the picture says this: you are not a passive observer in a neutral universe. You are an active transmitter in a responsive field. Your thoughts are not private reflections. They are emissions. They are broadcasts. They are quantum events with electromagnetic signatures that extend into the space around you and, if entanglement is as fundamental as the Nobel Committee now acknowledges, perhaps much further. Reality heard you. It has been hearing you. And the question is not whether this is true. The question is what you have been saying. I want to ask you something. When you heard about the quantum Zeno effect, about how sustained observation freezes a state in place, what was the first thing in your life that came to mind? What have you been staring at so hard that you have frozen it? Drop that in the comments. Not for me, for yourself. Because naming it is the first step toward releasing the measurement. Let us pause here, not to move on to the next concept, but to actually stop. I want you to do something right now. Close your eyes if you can. If you are driving, keep them open, but soften your gaze, and just notice. What is the thought running underneath all the other thoughts right now? Not the one you are performing, not the one you would tell someone about if they asked. The one underneath. The ambient hum. The background signal. Is it anxious? Is it skeptical? Is it hopeful? Is it tired? Is it some flavor of, I am not enough, wearing a different costume today? Do not judge it. Do not try to change it. Just notice it. Because that thought, that ambient signal, is what you have been broadcasting. Not the affirmation you said this morning. Not the vision board on your wall. The ambient thought. The one you barely notice because it has been running so long it sounds like silence. That is the frequency reality has been responding to. There is a concept in physics called resonance. When you strike a tuning fork and hold it near another tuning fork of the same frequency, the second fork begins to vibrate. No contact, no mechanism you can see, just proximity and matched frequency. The first fork does not push the second. It invites it. It offers a pattern, and the second fork's own structure is such that it cannot help but respond. Your ambient thought is a tuning fork, and reality is a room full of tuning forks of every conceivable frequency. What you sustain internally determines what begins to vibrate externally, not because the universe is a wish-granting machine. Not because you deserve good things or bad things, but because resonance is a physical law. It is not optional. It is not selective. It does not care whether you believe in it. It operates. This is why two people can walk into the same room, the same job interview, the same party, the same doctor's office, and have radically different experiences. It is not just attitude. It is not just confidence. It is resonance. The field responds to what you are actually emitting, not to what you are pretending to emit. And this is where most teachings on this subject fail you. They tell you to think positive. They tell you to visualize what you want. They tell you to repeat affirmations. And then when it does not work, they tell you that you did not believe hard enough, that your faith was insufficient, that you need to buy the advanced course. But the problem was never your faith. The problem is that you were trying to shout an affirmation over an ambient signal that was drowning it out. You were trying to tune a single string on a guitar while the other 5 were wildly out of key. The guitar does not produce the note you want. It produces the chord you are actually playing. All of it. Not just the string you are paying attention to. This is why the work is not about positive thinking. It is about honest listening. It is about dropping below the surface thoughts, below the performed optimism, below the spiritual vocabulary, and hearing what is actually playing. What is the chord? What is the full broadcast? Because reality is not responding to your best thought. It is responding to your most consistent one. Let me give you a specific example of how this operates, drawn from a domain most people do not associate with consciousness: immunology. In the 1970s and 1980s, Robert Ader and Nicholas Cohen at the University of Rochester conducted experiments that founded the field of psychoneuroimmunology. They gave rats saccharin-flavored water paired with an immunosuppressive drug. After conditioning, they removed the drug and gave the rats only the saccharin water. The rats' immune systems suppressed anyway. The taste alone, a sensory signal with no chemical immunosuppressive properties, triggered a full immune response, or rather, a full immune suppression. The body learned to associate a neutral stimulus with a biological outcome, and then produced that outcome from the association alone. No drug required, just the signal, just the information. Now extend this to your daily life. Every morning you wake up and check your phone. Your body has learned what comes next. The cortisol spike from the news, the comparison loop from social media, the low-grade anxiety from the emails. You have not yet encountered a single actual threat, but your immune system has already downregulated. Your inflammatory markers have already shifted. Your body has already begun producing the chemistry of a bad day. Not because the day is bad, because the signal, the thought pattern, the ambient broadcast told your body what kind of day this is, and your body, like those rats, complied. You have been conditioning yourself. Every repeated thought is a conditioning trial. Every habitual emotional response is a reinforcement. And your body, your brilliant, obedient, literal body, has been learning. It has been learning what you expect, and then it has been producing it. This is the mechanism underneath what people loosely call manifestation. It is not magic. It is conditioning. It is psychoneuroimmunology. It is the quantum Zeno effect applied to your own biology. It is resonance applied to your own electromagnetic field. It is entanglement applied to your relationship with the space around you. Your thoughts create reality not because the universe is listening in some mystical, anthropomorphic way, like a genie waiting for instructions. Your thoughts create reality because your thoughts are physical events with measurable electromagnetic, chemical, and quantum signatures. And those signatures interact with the physical world according to physical laws. Laws that most people never learn because they were filed under physics and biology and neuroscience, and nobody thought to connect them. But they connect. They connect so precisely that it should terrify you or liberate you, depending on what you choose to do next. If you are feeling the weight of what we have just uncovered, there is something deeper I want to offer you. Have you spent years chasing manifestation, visualizing, affirming, raising your vibration, only to watch the same patterns repeat? Every traditional method assumes the same thing, that you are separate from what you want. That separation was never real. You were chasing a signal you were already broadcasting. Beyond the frequencies, a quantum guide to consciousness mastery walks through all 9 frequencies, from the dense transmissions trapping you through the ascending currents to the master frequencies where consciousness becomes the field. Every method you tried sent a signal outward. This one tunes the signal you already are. Every day you delay, your nervous system broadcasts the same old signal, and breaking free gets harder. So move on it tonight. The link is in the pinned comment below. Now, let us return to the deeper implications of what your thoughts are building. Here is something I am genuinely curious about. As you have been listening, has there been a moment where you recognized a pattern you have been running, a fear you have been rehearsing so consistently that it started showing up in your life? Share that recognition in the comments below, not to dwell on it, but to mark the moment you saw it clearly. That seeing is already the beginning of change. Let us go deeper. There is a principle in quantum mechanics called superposition. Before measurement, a quantum system exists in all possible states simultaneously. The electron is not here or there. It is mathematically and physically here and there and everywhere its wave function allows, all at once. It is only when a measurement is made, when an observation occurs, that the system collapses into a single definite state. The standard interpretation, the Copenhagen interpretation, says that the act of measurement causes the collapse. Other interpretations disagree about the mechanism, but the experimental fact is not in dispute. Before observation, multiple possibilities. After observation, one actuality. Now, I want you to think about your future. Not a specific plan, just the sense of what is coming. When you project forward, what do you see? What do you feel? Most people, if they are honest, do not see the bright, open field of possibility. They see a narrowed corridor. They see the future that matches their fears. They see the argument that is coming, the bill they cannot pay, the diagnosis they dread, the relationship that will probably end the way the last one did. You have been collapsing your own wave function. Every time you project forward with fear, with certainty about what will go wrong, with that resigned inner voice that says, "This is just how it goes for me," you are performing an act of observation. You are measuring your own future. And the wave function, the field of possibility, collapses accordingly. Not into the worst possible outcome necessarily, but into the narrow band of outcomes that match your sustained observation. This is not blame. Hear that clearly. This is not you caused your suffering by thinking wrong. Suffering has causes that are systemic, biological, historical, and social. But within the range of what is responsive to your inner state, and that range is wider than you have been told, your sustained observation is selecting outcomes. The question then becomes, can you learn to observe differently? And this is where it gets practical. Because I am not interested in giving you a beautiful idea that you nod along with and then forget by tomorrow. I want to give you something you can use tonight. There is a practice that comes from the contemplative traditions, but has been validated in neuroscience laboratories, and it addresses exactly this mechanism. It is not visualization. It is not affirmation. It is something more fundamental. It is the practice of uncollapsing. Here's what I mean. Your mind, right now, has a default future, a set of assumptions about what is coming that feels so solid, so inevitable, that it does not even register as a thought. It registers as reality, as fact, as the way things are. But it is not fact. It is a collapsed wave function. It is one outcome selected from a field of possibilities by the sustained act of your fearful observation. The practice is to find that default future and gently, deliberately, unobserve it. Not replace it with a fantasy. Not paste a positive image over it, but actually release the certainty. Return it to superposition. Return it to possibility. Here is how you do it. Tonight, or whenever you next have 10 quiet minutes, sit somewhere comfortable. close your eyes and ask yourself, what am I most certain will happen in the next month? Not what I hope for, what I am certain about, what feels inevitable. Let the answer come. It will probably be something tinged with anxiety, something you have rehearsed so many times that it feels like memory rather than prediction. Now, here is the key. Do not argue with it. Do not try to replace it. Instead, notice the feeling of certainty itself, not the content, the certainty, the solidity, the way it sits in your body like a stone. Feel where it lives, your chest, your stomach, your throat, and then gently ask, what if I do not know? Not what if something better happens. Just, what if I genuinely do not know what will happen? What if this certainty is not knowledge but habit? What if I have been collapsing this wave function every day with my observation? And what if, just for this moment, I stop? Feel what happens in your body when you genuinely entertain uncertainty. There is usually a moment of vertigo, a moment of groundlessness. That is superposition. That is the field of possibility reopening. It feels unstable because you are accustomed to the false stability of a collapsed state. But that instability is not danger. It is freedom. It is the quantum field before measurement. It is every possible outcome coexisting, waiting for a different observation. Stay in that feeling for as long as you can. Even 30 seconds is enough to begin reconditioning, because what you are doing is breaking the Zano effect. You are interrupting the sustained, fearful observation that has been holding your future in a fixed state. You are, for the first time, looking away. And in looking away, you are allowing movement. You are allowing change. You are allowing the system to evolve into a state you have not predetermined. This is not magical thinking. This is applied quantum logic. The system was frozen because you would not stop measuring it. The moment you release the measurement, the system is free to change. Now, there is a second layer to this that most people miss entirely, and it has to do with the relationship between thought and time. In classical physics, time flows in one direction, past to future, cause to effect. Done. But in quantum mechanics, the equations work equally well in both directions. There is no arrow of time in the fundamental equations. The laws of physics, at the quantum level, are time-symmetric. This has led serious physicists, not fringe thinkers, but people like Yakir Aharonov, Hugh Price, and others, to explore a concept called retrocausality. The idea that future states can influence present ones. That the outcome of a measurement can, in some sense, reach back and affect the conditions that led to it. Aharonov's two-state vector formalism proposes that a quantum system is fully described not just by its initial conditions, but by its final conditions as well. The present is shaped by both the past and the future. The state of a particle at any given moment is determined by where it came from and where it is going. Read that again slowly. The present is shaped by the future as well as the past. If this is true at the quantum level and the mathematics support it, then the future you hold in your mind is not merely a prediction. It is a shaping force. The future you rehearse is reaching back into your present and selecting the conditions that will lead to it. Your anticipated future is not passive. It is active. It is pulling your present toward it. This is why fear is so creative. Not creative in the artistic sense, creative in the generative sense. Fear is an intensely detailed rehearsal of a specific future. When you are afraid, you do not think in vague terms. You think in vivid, specific, sensory detail. You see the conversation going wrong. You hear the words. You feel the shame. You smell the hospital room. Fear is the most immersive visualization practice most people ever engage in, and they do it for hours every day. And if retrocausality has any bearing on macroscopic experience, and the conditioning research, the psychoneuroimmunology, the electromagnetic field data, and the Tiller experiments all suggest it does, then those hours of fearful visualization are not just making you feel bad. They are actively constructing the future they depict. They are sending a signal backward through time, or forward through resonance, or outward through field coherence, selecting the conditions that match the rehearsal. You have been building what you are afraid of, not because you are broken, because you are powerful. Immensely, terrifyingly powerful, and no one taught you how to use it. So you have been using it unconsciously, on autopilot, running the same fear programs your parents ran, your culture installed, your past experiences conditioned. This is why I said at the beginning that I should not be telling you this, because now you know. And knowing means you can no longer pretend that your thoughts are private, harmless, inconsequential. They are none of those things. They are the most consequential force in your life. Not because of some mystical law of attraction, because of resonance, conditioning, electromagnetic emission, quantum measurement, and possibly retrocausality. Because of physics, because of biology, because of the way reality actually works when you bother to look at the research. So what do you do with this? How do you live with the knowledge that your inner world is not separate from your outer world? That the boundary between thought and reality is not a wall, but a membrane, and a thin one at that. You begin with honesty, radical, uncomfortable honesty about what you have actually been thinking. Not what you tell people you think, not what you post on social media, not the curated version, the actual ambient broadcast, the background hum. Most people have never done this. They have never sat down and simply listened to their own mind without trying to change it, fix it, improve it, or spiritualize it. They have never just heard the raw signal, and until you hear it, you cannot change it. You are trying to tune an instrument you have never listened to. So the first practice is listening. Pure, non-judgmental, almost scientific listening. What is the thought? What is the feeling tone underneath the thought? What is the body sensation underneath the feeling tone? Trace it all the way down, not to fix it, to know it, to finally, honestly, know what you have been broadcasting. The second practice is the uncollapsing I described earlier. Finding your default future and releasing the certainty, returning it to possibility. This is not something you do once. It is something you do every time you catch yourself rehearsing a future with that familiar feeling of dread certainty. Every rehearsal is a measurement. Every measurement is a collapse. Every collapse is a selection. Interrupt the rehearsal, and you interrupt the selection. The third practice is what I would call coherent broadcasting. And this is different from affirmation. An affirmation is a sentence you repeat. Coherent broadcasting is a state you inhabit. The difference is the difference between saying, "I am at peace," and actually being at peace. Your body knows the difference. Your electromagnetic field knows the difference. The space around you knows the difference. To practice coherent broadcasting, you do not need to force a feeling. You need to find one. Somewhere in your experience, right now, today, there is something genuinely good. Not perfect, not ecstatic, just genuinely good. The temperature of the air on your skin. The fact that your heart is beating without your effort. The sound of a voice you love, even if only in memory. Find it, not as an idea, as a sensation. Let your body locate it. Let it settle into your chest, your belly, wherever it naturally lands, and then stay with it. Not for an hour, for 60 seconds. Just 60 seconds of genuine, embodied, non-performed goodness. That is enough to shift your biophoton coherence. That is enough to alter your heart's electromagnetic output. That is enough to begin reconditioning your space. 60 seconds. That is the minimum viable dose of deliberate reality creation. Not an hour of meditation, not a weekend retreat. 60 seconds of genuine feeling, repeated throughout the day, accumulated over weeks and months. Reconditioning your ambient broadcast one moment at a time. This is what the research actually supports. Not grand gestures, accumulated moments of coherence. Consider coming back to this video each morning, even just for a few minutes, to reset your ambient frequency before the day's conditioning takes hold. Or send it to someone you know who has been caught in a loop of fearful rehearsal. Someone who needs to hear that their observation is not just passive, but creative. When you share something like this, you are not just passing along information. You are extending the field of coherent awareness outward. You are creating a resonance between your understanding and theirs. And that shared frequency amplifies both signals. It becomes harder to fall back asleep when someone else is awake beside you. There is one more piece I want to give you, and it is perhaps the most important. It has to do with the nature of the observer itself. In all of quantum mechanics, the observer is central. The observer collapses the wave function. The observer freezes the quantum Zeno effect. The observer's measurement determines the outcome. But here is the question that physics has never answered. What is the observer? The measurement problem, as it is known, is the single deepest unsolved problem in the foundations of physics. We know that observation changes the system. We do not know what constitutes an observation. We do not know what the observer is. A detector? A conscious mind? Any physical interaction? The question is open. It has been open for a century. And every interpretation of quantum mechanics is essentially a different answer to this one question. But here is what the contemplative traditions have been saying for millennia, and what a growing number of physicists and philosophers of mind are beginning to take seriously. The observer is not the mind. The observer is not the brain. The observer is not the thoughts. The observer is that which is aware of the thoughts. It is the awareness itself. The consciousness that precedes and underlies all mental content. In Advaita Vedanta, this is called the witness. Sakshi, the pure awareness that watches thought arise and dissolve without being changed by it. It is not a thing. It is not located in space. It is not produced by the brain, any more than the television show is produced by the television set. The set receives and displays. It does not generate. If this is true, and I am not asking you to believe it on faith, I am asking you to investigate it in your own experience. Then the observer that collapses wave functions, that freezes quantum states, that selects outcomes from fields of possibility, is not your anxious mind. It is not your fearful thoughts. It is not your habitual patterns. It is something deeper, something prior, something that has been watching your thoughts this entire time without being touched by them. And if you can learn to observe from that place, from the witness rather than from the conditioned mind, then the quality of your observation changes. You are no longer collapsing wave functions from fear. You are no longer freezing states with anxious attention. You are observing from stillness, from openness, from a place that does not need a particular outcome because it is not threatened by any outcome. This is the deepest level of the practice. Learning to shift the seat of observation from the conditioned mind to the witnessing awareness, not as a concept, as an experience, as a lived, felt, embodied shift in where you are looking from. You can taste this right now. Right now, as you listen to these words, there is a part of you that is aware of listening. Not the part that is processing the words, not the part that is agreeing or disagreeing, the part that is simply aware that all of this is happening. It is quiet. It has no opinion. It is not trying to get anywhere. It is just here, present, watching. That is the observer. That is what collapses wave functions. And when you learn to rest there, even for moments at a time, the wave functions you collapse are different. They are not selected by fear. They are not narrowed by habit. They are allowed. They are open. They emerge from the full field of possibility rather than from the narrow corridor of your conditioning. This is what it means to create reality consciously. Not to control reality, not to force outcomes, but to observe from a place that is not already predetermined, to bring a quality of attention to your life that is clean, open, and unconditioned, and to let the wave function of your experience collapse into whatever that clean observation selects. Reality heard you. It has always been hearing you. But it was not hearing your affirmations or your vision boards or your carefully constructed positive thoughts. It was hearing your actual state, your ambient frequency, the quality of your observation, the place you were looking from. And now you know. You know that your thoughts are physical events with measurable consequences. You know that sustained observation holds states in place. You know that your body broadcasts an electromagnetic field shaped by your inner state. You know that your fearful rehearsals may be actively constructing the futures they depict. You know that the certainty you feel about what is coming is not knowledge, but measurement, and that releasing that measurement reopens the field of possibility. You know that 60 seconds of genuine, embodied coherence is worth more than an hour of forced affirmation. You know that the observer is not your anxious mind, but the awareness beneath it. And you know that shifting the seat of observation changes what gets observed. This is not information you can put back. This is not something you can unknow. From this moment forward, every thought you entertain is a choice you are making with full knowledge of its consequences. Every fear you rehearse is a future you are actively constructing. Every moment of genuine presence is a wave function you are allowing to remain open. The responsibility is enormous, but so is the freedom. Because if your thoughts have been creating your reality unconsciously, imagine what becomes possible when you create consciously. Not from force, not from desperation, from clarity, from the quiet, steady, witnessing awareness that does not need reality to be any particular way, and therefore allows it to become something you never could have predicted. Something better than your fear, something wider than your plans, something that your conditioned mind could never have designed, because it can only recombine what it already knows. But the field, the quantum field, the field of all possibility, it knows more. It holds more. It is more. And when you stop collapsing it with your habitual measurements, it shows you what else is possible. That is what I should not be telling you. Not because it is secret, because it is responsibility. And most people do not want responsibility. They want someone else to fix it. They want a technique, a teacher, a system, a supplement. They want anything other than the raw, undecorated truth that they have been the observer all along, that they have been collapsing their own wave functions with every sustained thought. That reality has been hearing them, responding to them, matching them this entire time. But you are still here. You are still listening, which means some part of you already knew this. Some part of you recognized it not as new information, but as something remembered, something you knew before you were taught to forget it. Trust that part. It is the observer. It is the witness. It is the awareness that was here before your first thought and will be here after your last one. It is not fragile. It is not confused. It is not afraid. And when you learn to think from there, to observe from there, to live from there, your thoughts do not just create reality. They create a reality worthy of the consciousness that is thinking them. If this shifted something in you, if you felt even a moment of recognition, of remembering, then do not let it dissipate. Subscribe to this channel, not for me, for the version of you that needs to be reminded of this again next week, when the conditioning tries to reassert itself, when the old broadcast tries to resume. Leave a comment with what you noticed during the uncollapsing practice, or simply with the ambient thought you discovered when you finally listened. Your words in that comment section are not just text, they are another broadcast. They are another signal, and they help others find the courage to listen to their own. Reality's hearing all of us. Let us make sure what it hears is worth answering.